Today on This Week in Startups, Dan of Tip Top website wades into the Shark Tank. We'll chat with legendary entrepreneur Adam Curry. And Facebook's got this whole town on lockdown. All that and more right now on This Week in Startups.
Spiked out, I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I'm most definitely from.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to This Week in Startups. We just got back from London town, correct, Tyler?
Yes, jolly old England.
How did we do? How did we do?
That was awesome.
Good times.
Yeah.
Launched the Open Angel Forum London.
Yes.
Packed room.
Yes.
They loved it.
Yeah.
Little controversy. It was like we sort of like interlopers coming to London. Some people were like, "What are you doing here? Like, we have our own stuff."
Yes.
But we sort of settled that down.
We're here to show you how it's done. It's kind of
Yeah, no, that was not what we came with. A much more humble approach than that.
Yeah.
The approach we came with was if London wants this, and
Yeah.
they did vote that they wanted that to be the next city,
Yeah.
and the entrepreneurs wanted, the angels wanted, we're happy to do it.
It
with you
works
guys.
really well. They have a slightly different way of doing things.
Yes.
It's a little more considerate and.
They actually pay attention during the.
Oh, they definitely pay attention.
Yeah.
That was the best Q&As maybe of any.
Open Angel Forum.
Open Angel Forum.
At the other Open Angel Forums, I had to tell the U.S. investors, please don't take your BlackBerry out when the entrepreneur is presenting.
Right.
And then I told them that, and they were like, well, of course we would do that. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
A lot of manners. And also, we did the keynote at Future of Web Apps.
Yes.
What a great conference Carson
Yeah.
puts on, so thank him for that. And I'll also be keynoting his event in Vegas in February.
Yeah.
I stopped speaking at events, but Carson supported me early on when I was a nobody, and you got to be loyal to your friends. So anytime he asks me to speak somewhere, I go. And also, let's face it, free trip to London, pretty dope.
Right.
And any excuse to go to Vegas and be a degenerate gambler, I'm there. Welcome to the program, Adam Curry.
Oh, hey, Jason, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
We've been friends for a long time.
20 plus years, maybe?
Yeah,
something like
something
that?
like
Back
20
to the
years.
Silicon Alley days?
Back to the Silicon Valley days,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we're going to talk today about your amazing, epic career. But we're also going to talk. Why do you think I'm joking? I'm not giving you an epic
I
career,
feel so
man.
old when you do that. It's like
Yes,
it's
we're going to
amazing
go back
epic
to the
career.
70s.
Yeah, right. No.
You know, I'm having the same thing. I feel old now too. I think it's what it is we're getting a little bit older. You have to face it.
It happens.
It happens. But in addition to your excellent career, we have an excellent sponsor in .co. Oh my God, at .co. We love you guys for sponsoring the show. Over 500 .co domains have been registered. Many of you on the show have registered domains. Tweet us a .co name that you've purchased with the twist hashtag, and we'll pick one of you.
So what are they? They're a domain registrar?
Domain registrar, .co.
What country is .co?
I have no idea.
Like
but
Colombia or?
it's a great question. I have no idea, but I do know that it sounds professional.
It does. It sounds like like your
company. Yeah. And so all the .coms are taken. These guys are available on GoDaddy. You can just go there and buy it and go create your own opportunity. I'm using a lot of .co names. I've bought at least 24 right now, and they're not giving them to me for free. I have to pay for them. You get a truly global, recognizable, incredible option for branding your online presence. I've told everybody this over and over again. Your domain name is very important when you're going to raise angel investing, when you're doing branding. Domains speak, and get yourself a great one at .co. Thank them on Twitter by saying thank you at .co for supporting This Week in Startups and independent media. And we're going to give one of you guys a free, we'll pay for your domain name. That's what we're going to do. So just tweet that you bought a domain name at .co, and we'll pick one of you guys and give you one for free. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Let's do the Shark Tank. Bizarre.
Yeah, it kind of went away. I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
weird.
You must get asked to be on reality TV shows constantly.
No, not really. Not really. But
your
the Shark Tank
ex-wife
was
used to be
one.
on shows in the.
Well, she's a singer.
She's
Yeah,
super famous.
And we did a reality show about our family, Adam's
Right.
family, in the Netherlands in 2003, I think it was.
So that would be like the equivalent of the Osbournes.
It was actually, it was right after the Osbournes, you know. And
modeled after it somewhat.
Which was started by a guy who used to be a production assistant on the Headbangers Ball. And Greg was kind of hanging out with the Osbournes, and you know they really needed something to. It was just shot footage, and then he kind of put it together, and then it became this massive thing. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And what was nice about that show is we did it all ourselves, 1.5 camera. Literally had one camera guy sleep in our house, stay with us all the time. I did second camera, just little
backup here
Sony
and there.
handy cam, and edited it all in Final Cut Pro. So I
Wow.
had one cameraman, one editor, and we did a full hour every week. It was a big deal. Yeah, 13 weeks. It was fun though. It was a good experience, and it paid extremely well.
Which is the most important part
That's
of it.
why I did it. Yeah,
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
You have to get paid. Dan, you're on the line. Where are you calling from, Dan?
Florida.
From Florida. Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually, we got 2 offices, one in Pennsylvania, one in Florida. I want to give a shout out to Adam in the morning.
Hey, in the morning to you, my friend.
Adam knows me from edan.com. He reads a lot of my email.
I sure do. I sure do.
So Dan, you know the rules of Shark Tank. You have 60 seconds to present your idea. I'm going to ask everybody in the chat room to get ready to rate your pitch on a scale of 1 to 10. So they'll type pitch, colon, and a number, and then your idea. They're going to rate that 1 to 10 as well in the chat room. Are you ready to go? We'll put the counter at 60 seconds. Are you ready, Dan?
Ready when you are, Jason.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, Jason and Adam. TipTopWebsite.com is a place to create a website online. In 60 seconds, packages start at only $1.95 a month. Sign up today, they'll give you a free domain. Hosting is included. What differs us from all these other click and build website systems out there? First of all, ours is the easiest to use. We've been online since 2005 and have over 7,000 paying members that absolutely love us. Okay, we launched in 2005. Been profitable 1 week after we launched. How? Because I designed the whole system. Everything's at Rackspace. 7,000 members, love us, they pay us every month. We are search engine masters. Jason, you'll appreciate this. Some of the hardest keywords in the industry, like create a website, build a website, free websites, were on the first page of Google. Jason, I am a gladiator. I played a gladiator in TV in the 1990s. Why was I cast? Because I'm a true gladiator. You are a gladiator. I want you on the board. I want you to take this to the next level and go for an exit in 18 and 24 months. What kind of exit, you ask? Well, Homestead sold to Intuit for $170 million in 2007. GoDaddy's valued at over $1 billion. We blow the boat away.
Very good. Well done. You had a lot to say in there. What I got from this is that you are a website hosting company like a Squarespace or Click and Build a Website, 7,000 customers in the last 5 years. Presentation was pretty clear. I'll give the presentation a 7. The idea, I think, is like also maybe a 7 or so. It's a pretty common idea. There's a lot of these out there. Didn't hear anything that was particularly innovative in the idea. Let me ask the chat room to tell us what they think. And Adam, rate the idea and rate the pitch.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8. I like that he had a comp in there, a comparable, saying
GoDaddy
that
was good. Comp was
just
good.
valuated at $1 billion. I like that he had an exit number in mind.
Cool.
Sounds like, if I just do quick math, if he's got 7,000 people paying every single month, was it $195?
Yeah, maybe some are paying 3
So
or
he's doing
4.
like 150 grand. He's, it's apparently it seems profitable. So maybe this is the kind of thing that just needs to have water added and can scale.
Yeah.
Let me interject. The prices start at $1.95 a month, and we have many upsells. Our most popular package, $9.95 a month. We're close to $1 million a year right now.
Right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. Well, so
that's a good number to include in the pitch.
Minus
-1 on the pitch.
Oh yeah, not 7.5 now, man. You should have.
You're looking at the CEO, the founder, the tech guy, the producer. You're looking at everything. You're looking at a one-man shop.
He's a handsome devil.
Absolutely.
That's the way he gets half a point for being handsome.
Okay, so you're
that really helps.
We're going to do real-time scoring from now on.
I got a couple inches on you too.
So anyway, finish your assessment. The idea. I mean, the idea is not the most revolutionary thing in the world.
I can see though, from a marketing standpoint, I'd like to be done in 60 seconds. If that's what I heard him say, it's like, okay, that to me sounds, on one hand, like, okay, I'd really want that, and I actually would use that because I use like Squarespace and stuff.
Yeah, I use Squarespace too. It's wonderful.
Just to rack something up real quick.
Yeah.
But I can see where if I just need a website in 60 seconds and it's all done, yeah, that would be pretty valuable. I mean, I think I might use that. So it kind of depends on the marketing, because it can also be a detractor. It's like, well, what kind of website am I really getting?
Our websites look, honestly, 100 times better than Squarespace. Leo is all about Squarespace. Jason, you need to jump on board with TipTopWebsite.com.
I got it.
He's pitching,
Let's
man.
Get, I know,
pushing
this
real
guy's
heavy.
strong.
Yeah, I like
Tyler, scores for the presentation, scores for the idea.
And Tyler, I got an insight for you, by the way. Most of the Shark Tanks you have are like a flying car with Wi-Fi. Let's get down to earth. Tyler knows me. I actually traded him a domain name for a ticket to your conference last year.
Ah, very good. Smart idea. Let's let Tyler speak. Let Tyler speak.
To be clear, it was a domain name for Jason, right?
Okay.
Because it sounds like I just like.
All right. Yes.
Just-
Tyler's,
no, it was
are you basically selling access to me? Is that what's going on here?
This was a domain.
I think it is a good business. You should start selling access to me. I don't know anything about it, but I want
Jason got the
60%,
domain.
60-40.
Yeah, see, he just said Jason got the domain.
I
It was
did
a
get the domain,
name
but I
for
mean, I think you should just sell straight up access to me. Set up a meeting with me, $500. I'll take 300. You take 2.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about the 500. Pay to pitch.
And you wonder why these guys call in with this kind of pitch. Listen to the master
Absolutely.
here. You
We
know
have
how
to
to
make
do
some money
this.
here.
It feels a bit like a Sunday in a snowstorm.
Hold on a second.
I'd seen that
Gotta
one.
write that down. Sunday, like a sundae with ice cream.
Yes.
With the whipped cream and the
Yes.
nuts and the cherry. In
Yes.
a snowstorm.
Yes.
In some way, it's similar and sweet, but you may not be able to see it.
Right. Well, you can't fully enjoy
Appreciate
it.
it?
Yeah. It's like in some contexts it's great, but in other contexts, like
Right.
this-
In a Sunday in the desert was what
Yes.
you want to be.
Yes.
You don't want to be a Sunday in a snowstorm. I
Correct.
got it. Okay. So that's awesome. Now give us the scores.
the scores. The pitch sounded like an infomercial to me.
It does sound like an
It,
infomercial,
and
doesn't it?
it distracted and detracted. I think.
Well, I mean,
of
if
it.
you look at the website, I'll pull it up here for a
Yeah.
second, if you don't mind.
Because it's an incredibly valuable
The
service. and
website
space
feels
that
also
this-
like almost like an infomercial. It's like really trying
Yes.
to engage you to
Yes.
get you to sell,
I'm
which
not
is very.
against that.
And I'm not
Yeah.
against it at all. I
I'm
don't.
not against
That's
that
not
at
a dig. That's a
I spent 10 years under NBC contract. They trained me.
Okay.
beautiful.
There you go. Yeah.
Apparently, from
It paid
the
off.
interactions on this call,
Right.
you have been trained in the art of sales.
Right.
Scores.
Scores, pitch, 7, concept, 8.5.
Really?
Yeah.
So you,
I love this space. I just feel like the delivery style feels a bit Sunday in
Billy
the,
Mays?
Huh?
It's got
Billy
a little
Mays?
Billy Mays to it. Yeah.
A little Billy, exactly, a little Billy Mays.
And he's
Hey,
a genius.
that stuff
Yes, he
works,
was.
man.
Yes,
That
he was.
So
Billy
here's
Mays
the
stuff
thing.
works.
You're gonna love my nuts.
I have a question. 7,000 customers, $1 million in revenue after how many years? 5 years it's been in business.
Yeah. 5 years.
How much have you invested in the business? How much has been invested?
Listen, I take this all out of my pocket. About 2 years ago, I went to TICC. You may of Connecticut. You may know Jonathan Cohen out of New York, one of the famed investors. They bought him for 10%. So they're looking to help grow. They put me in some great contacts. I've had a few contacts with Brad Greenspan, but I decided not to go with him. Fantastic entrepreneur, but he had different ideas. I'm looking for, not money. I'm the one guy that's not going to look for money from you. I'm looking for relationships to grow the business and go for an exit. You know, this is not a concept. This is not an idea. Most of the Mrs. America, most of the bands in the country, mom and pop shops. Like I said, GoDaddy will upsell you. You're going to be $500 out the door. Squarespace, CSS, no one knows what they're talking about. You send your aunt or your uncle or your mom and dad to this, they're going to have a website online. Every day I get customers leaving GoDaddy, Homestead, and Squarespace coming to me. Every day.
I have to say, there is something about the pitch of 60 seconds
I like that.
and $1.99 a month.
That's
It
what I
seems
like the
like
most.
that's the best part of it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, free domain included. .co even,
Oh,
Jason, whatever you want.
Wait,
With the
you can't-
domain included?
With the domain included, domain's going to cost you
That's-
$8, right?
No, forget it. Forget it. Listen, you're going to get in the $1.95. You stay at $1.95. I'm thrilled. Stay forever. So many people have multiple websites. You're going to probably want to upgrade down the road. If you don't, you're going to tell 10 friends how much you like it. It's word of mouth. Forget
So
about being
you
ranked
don't
on the
make
first
any
page of
money
Google.
until year 2 or until you upsell, right? You're breaking even or losing money.
Each customer is worth almost $200 to me. If they're a $1 customer, a $10 customer.
Interesting.
So that's not. Hey, what I liked is the guy comes in with a ready-made pitch. You know, he's making
Pretty
money.
tight.
It's profitable. Where do
This
I
is my fifth-
sign?
Exactly.
Yeah, let's get in on this
I
business.
think-
Jason, I left TV in 1995 to get in the internet. I've been profitable ever since. In 1995, this is my latest project 5 years ago. Like I met you last year at TechCrunch.
Yep.
Your head running around, and this is a winner. This is not some pie in the sky idea. Hey, we need bootstrap money. It's not some nonsense. You're talking to a guy that knows his business and does it all himself. I wrote every line of code. Took me 2.5 years to build.
So I think to make this acquirable, there's going to need to be some asset base of developers who, when they buy it, they know it's going to be stable. So my advice would be you need to have like maybe 1 or 2 developers in the valley in a little tiny office somewhere and maybe add a marketing acquisition person so
How
that
about
you can
Santa Monica?
show the acquisition, like, ramp it up to maybe $5 million in revenue.
Well, let me. What is the ultimate goal? Do you want to get out? Do you want to cash out?
wants
Do you
money?
wanna-
Listen, I love this. This is like my third child. I absolutely love it. I love it more than the acting business. It's fantastic. I'd love to cash out a year and a half, 2 years from now, and go on to the next project. I heard there's a great office in Mahalo that has a little space for 2 developers to sit down to. I used to go to Santa Monica Junior College. This is a partnership deal that Jason, a big name, needs to get into. Adam Curry. Adam, I think we talked back and forth about this before. John and I have talked about C. Dvorak, fantastic in the morning to him too. This needs to get to the next level. It's a ready-made business. Jason, 2
So
phone
you love
calls,
it like your
it's
third
done.
child, and you'd like to
Absolutely.
sell it in 18 months. Which is
18
what can
listen,
every parent say about
Yeah,
their
that's
third
right.
child?
I love my kid, but I'll sell it for $18 million.
Sold.
No
Better
problem.
than I grew up in, close to the valley there. You know better than I. Everyone thinks they're smarter than the next guy. So if someone wants to buy it for 10 times earning because they're going to do wonderful things with it, we'll let them buy it. We'll go on to the next thing. This is a fantastic business. It's one of the few calls you're ever going to have on your show that company's already making money, and the kind of money I'm talking. You have one person behind the show here. It's a mobile unit. I have rack space servers. It's fully scalable. This is a done deal.
Awesome. You did a great job. We thank you for being on the show, and we will be in touch by email.
All
Thank
right,
you.
10 by 10, Jason. 10 by 10. I'll take those scores.
10 by 10. Okay, that's it. 10.
Thanks for
Adam, gold coin challenge. You got it?
Gold Coin Challenge. What is
Hold
this?
on,
What
hold
show?
on,
What show? Are we
hold
on
on.
No Agenda, or are we on This Week in Startups?
I got
I'm being
all
co-opted.
my coins here.
What is this?
You got your. I'm being challenged.
Oh,
I'm being
my-
challenged. If I don't have my coins, is my No Agenda Challenge coin right
Yes,
there.
Congratulations. Hey, you guys, take it easy. Thanks for the
Wait, a
opportunity.
challenge
Jason,
coin? What is this?
Jason, you got my information. Contact me directly.
I
and
do.
I'll give you a good deal.
I'm stoked. This
Yeah,
is,
come in,
this is a-
series A round, Jason. No money out of your pocket. 2 introductions. We're going to take this thing.
All
I'll
right.
take you sushi and nice steak at Bola. All right. talk to
Awesome.
you-
Sounds good. I will see you there. Wow. I think I've never been pitched so hard.
He did a good job.
He did a good job. I like the
I'd like a guy
aggressiveness.
like
I
that
like it.
working for me. He's good.
He's actually, if you had him working for you, you'd be like, please.
You could stay home.
Yeah. It's he's yeah.
You could just.
Yeah, he
stay
did a
home.
pretty good job.
Let him do the work. It's great. Nice guy.
Nice guy. He's not like your prototypical Valley guy. So
Which
he's
I
sort
think
of
is a
outside
plus.
the system,
I
which
think
is
that's a plus.
Which is a plus.
Yeah.
But it needs to have some fit and polish.
Well, yeah, we need.
A little spit and shine.
You need to look at it.
Yeah.
What is it really? But hey, how often do you get a business that seems to be running?
Yeah.
And that can really do it, and it's an established sector.
I think they should just be on television.
That's
Pounding it like $1 a month.
That's actually a
Sign
very
up now,
good idea.
$1 a month.
Yeah.
And you're signed up in 60 seconds.
Maybe,
$1 a month,
yeah.
website up in 60 seconds. Boom.
Yeah, we kind of hit on that. It
Yeah.
sounded like an infomercial. Felt like if he was doing it on television, he'd probably triple his business overnight.
It's a great value proposition, but I think the value proposition is a 10 and the execution is like a 6. So, but what's good is if you've got that great value proposition, you got to catch it up, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not my kind of business, so.
Yeah, hosting, not my business either. But I tell you who's also doing a great job. GoDaddy starts at less than $5. It's amazing that we have GoDaddy as the.
How coincidental.
How
Jason.
coincidental is that? But starting at less than $5 per month and promising 99.9% uptime, I have at least 2,000 domain names hosted at GoDaddy. They provide 24-hour, 7 days a week support from GoDaddy, blah, 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 blah. And they offer you unlimited disk space, bandwidth for less than $15 a month. Plus, enter the code TWIST20, and when you check out, you'll save an additional 20% on 1, 2, or 3 years of
And we
hosting.
got the Twist 749 you get a domain name for $7.
Oh, right, Twist 749. Actually,
Yeah.
absolutely, that's right. Yes, Adam watching the program and noting that down.
Yes.
Get your piece of the internet, GoDaddy. And if you want to just thank both sponsors on Twitter right now, say thank you to at GoDaddy and at .co. Why not buy a .co at GoDaddy? That would be perfect.
It's a
Then
double whammy.
And then you're really supporting the show. It is your Geary to support the show. If you're listening to my voice, you get a lot out of the show. I get a lot out of the show. Go buy a domain and help the show out. And tell them Adam Curry sent you.
Yes, please do.
Advertising is working again, huh?
That's really interesting because I'm now kind of moving away from it.
Really?
Yeah. So there's 2 things I'm doing right now. Obviously, I'm still a co-founder and shareholder of Mevio,
Right.
Which is really high volume business with
Video
with
network.
Yeah, it's a video network, and I think that is actually kind of established and working well and
Yeah.
growing. For me personally, I've always wanted to have a product whatever it would be. In this
Right.
case, I have like 2 virtual products, No Agenda, actually 3, Daily Source Code, and then the Big App Show. And I really wanted to find a way for people who liked it so much that they would just give me money. And that's actually working.
So people will pay for content.
It's
Or donate.
I don't know if it's content. Well, first of all, it's open donation, but I
Right.
just call it support. It's not like a tip jar or anything. I'm
Right.
serious about it.
Right.
And if you have enough audience, I mean, if you get 50,000 or 100,000 people, then they can actually support you, and
Really?
they will. If you have a really good product,
Right.
they will do that. And I've always kind of thought that I could be a televangelist or something like that.
You have
know.
that. You like, yeah.
And
Cult leader.
yeah,
perhaps?
cult leader, but I don't have any real religion in that regard. But with the No Agenda show and with the Big App Show, it's actually working. Now, it's not something you can say, oh well, honey, I know that we're going to be able to buy a new car because
Yeah.
this is
So
this is
predictable.
what comes in every month. It's not predictable. But what's great is if you do something that sucks, it immediately shows up in how much support you receive from
So
the audience.
In some ways, it becomes a virtuous feedback mechanism.
Immediate. It keeps you on your toes. I mean, I spend a lot of time working on this programming, and
Yeah.
if you just suck or if you miss the mark, then immediately you notice that in the support, and it's a real. I love it right now. I'm
Right.
really enjoying doing that. We have enough mass online that we can do these things, and I know that I always have to deliver an outstanding product and. I don't have to worry about any other conflict of interest or
Yeah.
anything. I
Oh,
don't
in
have
terms
to-
of reading a sponsor.
Yeah, I don't have to
Yeah.
go to Madison Avenue and service the client or
Yeah,
any of
yeah.
that. Which I've always found a bit tedious.
Yeah.
I'm not against advertising. I think it's important. We need
Right.
it in our lives. But it's funny because I went to see The Social Network.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Well, it's really weird. I don't know if you had this, but when you watch that movie, there's so many things that there's so much behind that part of the story, or
Right.
this is how it really goes, or here's how a guy really gets screwed out, through delusion, and you're like, it feels so incomplete,
Right.
and then all of a sudden it's like, it ends with 500 million people, $25 billion valuation. I'm like, is that the message people are getting from this story? I'm sorry about
Right.
that. That felt pretty wrong. Justin Timberlake steals the movie, by the way.
Absolutely.
JT totally steals the movie. Love that.
Performance was amazing. But you know Sean Parker. I mean, I do. He's
I
not
know
totally
Sean
accurate.
Fanning, not really Parker, so that was
okay.
that was a little weird.
Not
for
really.
me.
So people know, not an accurate portrayal of Sean Parker,
I
who is
wouldn't know.
very sort of. I mean, he is a little bit of a ladies' man and very social, and you'll see him at the club popping bottles.
It's a
but a
dra-
nice
it's
guy.
dramatization.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I think is a big takeaway for everybody is, and of course they've changed that now, is no ads. This is go for it. You're building something cool.
Right.
And I've always liked punk rock. I think
Right.
that's really good. And of course Facebook is nothing like that at all.
Right.
They're probably selling more of my information and my profile and my habits than I care to know about.
Right.
So it's not really true to what Facebook is today. But that idea of ads kind of spoils a lot of things. often.
Yeah. If you don't do them properly, it really sucks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
certainly the banner ad is the worst creation ever.
Display. We call it display, Jason.
I know, but it's always been ugly and just not well done. I mean, you were there at the birth of the internet. I mean, it's so hard.
I created a lot of banners.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
I mean,
We
it's hard to
built a lot
interview you
of them.
because you have like this sort of 3 different things. It's so hard to know where to start. I sort of feel like I want to go backwards.
You can do that.
Podfather, one of the first podcasters. Certainly, you were the largest podcaster for many years. How did you hear about podcasting, and how did you get started in it?
Well, it really wasn't called podcasting. That name
Right.
came much later. But I was reasonably good friends with Dave Weiner.
Right.
It was kind of hard to be friends with Dave Weiner, as everyone will attest to.
I've been great friends with him and mortal enemies.
It goes in and out.
Yep.
And we actually met in, I'm going to say it was 2000, maybe 2000.
Yeah.
And he had, was really pushing RSS.
Sure.
And at the time, he wrote about it. It was a pretty cool little piece that's still on his scripting.com, scripting news. Said, what I want, at the time we had broadband, which was always on. It wasn't fast, it was always, didn't have to log into your computer, it just
Right.
stayed on. And I was like, what really sucks about the internet is if you want to listen to we weren't talking about video at the time, it was
Right.
just audio. You have to click and then wait for 20 minutes and it downloads. And
Right.
the experience is horrible. So what I really always wanted was, why can't your computer, which is now always on, in some background process, be bringing in this file and only tell you that it's there when it's actually there, and then you click on it.
Right.
So then the magic is kind of, you don't know what's happening. It's like the news, you know, you don't know that there's 3 days worth of work that went into this one piece, like you turn it on, it's there.
You get the finished product.
And from that came the enclosure element in RSS.
Right.
And then from that, although many people have, I don't want to take any credit because I only get all kinds of for that, but I wound up with an Apple script that would literally fish out the enclosure from an RSS feed and then into iTunes, update it so that it would be on the iPod. And I started the daily source code, which I think was, if you want to talk of podcast, delivered in that outside of what Dave was doing with, he did a show.
Coffee Notes? Or
No, before then.
Way before Coffee
No, before then, with Dan, the guy at Harvard. I'm sorry, I forget his name. So that was, Dave was already putting his shows into an RSS feed, but I kind of popularized it, started getting, because what we then needed, we had the transmitter, we then needed the receiver.
Right.
So we needed aggregators.
Yep.
And so the daily source code was literally me talking about what we could do with this, building an audience, and then giving live feedback to developers. Andrew Grummett was one. We had the iPod, the Lemon,
something.
Lemon, iPodder.
Yeah, iPodder.
There was a million,
all these things.
Right. And the whole idea was, you can't develop a receiver if you don't have someone broadcasting continuously. So my job was to, every day there would be a new file.
You were like sort of the test.
Well, there would be a new file, and then we could see what broke. So, you know, we learned all these interesting things, like if I changed my GUID, then, you know, all of a sudden one aggregator would re-download the entire feed. And, you know, so we learned a lot of stuff that had to be hashed out. And then, you know, then the name came, podcasting, which is actually the worst thing ever for
because it tied it to the iPod.
Not only that, but it became analogous to amateurism, which is really unfortunate.
Right.
And, you know, so then it kind of got pushed into this amateur guy in the basement.
And this is all 2002, if I remember correctly, 2003?
Well, no, that really was 2004.
Yeah, because I had started Weblogs Inc. already, so it was like as Weblogs Inc. was starting.
Yeah, so there was quite a gap between. I mean, Dave and I were already sending enclosure files back and forth to each other in like 2000, and, you know, with his Radio Userland stuff.
Sure.
So it really didn't happen until somewhat
later. What an incredible
later.
innovation on Dave's part. I mean, it's
and he he also, you know, stands on shoulders of giants. You know, there's the guys from Netscape who
built RSS. Or XML, or whatever it is.
You know, so it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's there. What I find fascinating, though, is the one problem that we always had that no one could figure out was how to subscribe. And either to RSS or podcast, and of course what we wound up with is an iTunes button. Yeah. Right? And
so some commercial entity owns it.
And so, you know, if you kind of fast forward to today, we have, instead of subscribe, we have follow and friend. You know, but follow, I think, really has become the subscribe mechanism, because Twitter to me is no more than an RSS feed
of just headlines. It's like no body.
And it's my news now. I mean, I don't look at anything. I don't need to look at anything because I just follow the right people and I get my news.
I remember listening to those early shows of Daily Source Code and just being fascinated that, like, wow, there's like a serious broadcaster using this stuff, and I'm getting it every day. I mean, I listened to the first 100 episodes religiously, and it was just like. This is a revolution. It's amazing. Yeah. And then it was like at some point, I don't know when, Apple actually said, we're going to put this in. Did Steve Jobs contact you or something? Because I remember you talking on the show about there was some clandestine meeting or some weirdness that occurred.
No, it was really fun. So it was the D conference. I don't know which one it was. And I got a call from Eddie Q, which, by the way, is the best name ever for a guy who works at
Q.
Q, C-U-E. He ran the iTunes. It still runs iTunes.
Wow.
And he said, you know, I want you to come to San Diego. I want you to meet with Steve. I'm like, hell yeah.
Sure.
So flew to San Diego. I had like an hour-long sit-down with him.
Wow.
And it was the most fascinating meeting I've ever had in my life.
This is 2004 or 2005.
This is just before 2005.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of when Steve was down at the D in 2007.
No, but he was there, and he was at the original one, too.
Right.
This is the second year of D.
And so, but it was kind of funny because he had already baked it into the iTunes he was going to show at that moment, and so it was basically asking me permission. He says, "It's okay."
Podfather.
Yes,
May I?
He lisps, by the way, which was really, he has a
little bit of lisp?
Yeah, close up.
Adam Curry, because you want the fiver?
It wasn't quite like
Let me hear
that,
it.
okay? But he's a very endearing guy, and
Right.
he had all these great insights about Apple. And he said, we're a really small company, and we say a lot, the kind of the standard stuff that he says. But I was just like, I'm here with Steve Jobs.
You are starstruck. And,
Totally.
and you know all the stars in the world.
Totally.
I mean, from your MTV days.
For me, yeah, this was I
Bigger
was
than meeting
starstruck.
any rock star.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally?
Yeah, I would have to say so.
Wow.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You are a nerd.
Yeah. Oh, but I mean, I've been a paying beta tester of his stuff for years. I pay to beta test, Apple's products.
Absolutely.
That's what everybody does.
While the laptop is burning your...
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
And then, and I said, yeah, this is great. He said, would you help us? Because we had the iPodder.org directory at the time. I said,
yes.
Yeah, man, take the whole, the whole idea is it's OPML, and that is a Dave Weiner creation.
Yep.
So you can suck it all in and do whatever you want, and that's fine. It's become political anyway. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah. Who
And,
gets listed in there?
Yeah, I said, please take the whole thing. Just
Right,
suck
it's
it
a
all
headache.
in. Whatever you need. Let's get this. Let's kickstart this thing. And then he showed iTunes with podcasting, and my podcast was what he demoed. It was kind of funny because I literally start that show off with, my Mac is acting up again. It was a little embarrassing for him. But no, that was great. And then from that, of course, we went on to create a company.
Right.
Called Pod Show.
Right. Raised a huge, sick amount of money.
Yeah, total like $48 million over
Holy,
three rounds. The first one was 12, and then we had a follow-on, which was a big one. The second was big.
And this is all in the 2006?
2005, 2007, we raised another round just before all the crap happened with the economy. So
2008, before 2008.
We knew we needed money. I think you raised money around that time too, so we kind of all saw that coming.
Well, this is the experienced people, who saw the last time.
Yeah.
So you knew, something told you, Spidey sense, the market's not going to be...
You could see it, you could feel it and everything. We also changed the name to Mevio.com.
Why did you do that?
Well, the main thing we saw with advertising agencies is, they have their budget and they love the whole idea of what we're doing. And then, of course, with every agency, with every media buy, they got to, we got to chop some stuff off, and always be, what's this pod stuff?
X.
Exactly. I'm like, no, this is no good. So, and literally changing the name of the company,
my goodness,
saved it.
Wow.
Yeah, because we took the pod out of the company, and so now it's it's running cash flow positive, and it's all about just what is the economy doing. So to do that in the economy, and everyone's getting paid, and we all have health care. Yeah, that's great. Is there an exit? I don't. Who knows? You never know. It's
you can't build a company based on that. You got to build something that connects with customers.
Never built on the idea, at least not for me, built on the idea of an exit. I just wanted to build a place where people could come, upload their stuff, and have a professional show.
And you did that with Ron Bloom, who was your partner on Think
New Ideas.
Which was your online ad agency. What did we call them back then? We called them web shops, I guess.
Yeah, in '93, I was working at MTV, and I set up MTV.com, which is a whole other story.
I mean, that's a Wired cover story, I believe, or a big, huge Wired story.
Yeah, and actually, so I left MTV thinking, somehow we're going to broadcast on this internet thing. I'm not.
But let's talk about the domain thing, because that's a really interesting story. You registered MTV before they did.
Oh yeah. So here's what happened. This is before the web, by the way. This is Gopher is what we had, and so I'd heard about I was on AOL or Vienna Online or whatever it was called back in the day, and Prodigy and all this stuff. And I'd heard about this thing called the internet. Really hard to get on, but once you're there, that's where all the cool kids are. Yeah. And the one problem with MTV is their audience is at college, or at least it was. Right. And now it's changed a little bit. So okay, I got to get on there, because who was on the internet? College kids. Because they had access to terminals. So I learned how to do a slip connection. Right. I got like PPP. Do all that. And so I got my 2400 baud modem, I think, at the time, maybe 12 even. And
you're in New York at this time?
I was living in Jersey, but working in New York. And immediately, news groups, email, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing, and I'm getting emails about stuff that's happening at concerts around the country. So I all of a sudden had access to all this information.
And it was all the intelligent people.
It's hard for people to understand how weird this was at the time. Yeah. I mean, MTV had a Wang system for the scripts, and the teleprompter literally was a rolling belt, where a teleprompter operator would turn a wheel and the belt would move along with a script sitting on top of it. I mean, this is the technology of the day. And I'm like, wow. And then there was this Gopher thing, which you could connect. It was hyperlinking. And with the arrow keys, you could connect from one link to the other to a different server. I'm like, I got to have one of these.
Yeah.
So I found these guys called Digex. They were above a Chinese restaurant in Reston, Virginia. Of course, where all the pipes were at the time. And I got a hold of these guys, and I said, "Hey, man, Doug Humphreys, great guys. Yeah, I'll set you up with a shared headless Sun 3." I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so I literally learned, how to, Unix.
Yeah.
And I learned how to compile the Gopher server. And set it up, and they said, "Well, you need a domain name." So, well, MTV.com. That's obvious. Okay, so registered MTV.com. And not even thinking about anything
legal,
other than
trademarks.
No, it was like logical.
But I mean, just to set this in context, you were a VJ at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like an on-air talent who counted down the videos and interacted with the artists on MTV.
Yeah.
I remember growing up. You were very famous.
But I've always been geeky that way.
Right. But I mean, it's sort of interesting that MTV's got to get pulled into the revolution by the on-air talent. I mean.
Well, I mean, isn't it always that way with big
so.
companies?
Yeah.
So actually, a side story which is kind of funny is the University of Minnesota, who had developed the Gopher server, sent me an email, cease and desist. This is because at the time, you'll remember,
no commercial device.
No commercial. You couldn't do anything commercial on the internet.
You weren't allowed to have that. Yeah.
You couldn't go into a news group, a Usenet group, and say something that might even be deemed commercial. You got thrown out and flamed. And I'm like, dude, I'm not making any money on this. I'm paying for this server out of my own pocket, and we need $5,000 license fee. I'm like, dude. Anyway, so I struck a deal with him.
Yeah.
You can still find it on YouTube. That I would wear a University of Minnesota Gopher T-shirt on air, and then they would give me a license for the Gopher server in perpetuity.
There's quick thinking.
So that worked out, and then I got an email from this guy in Illinois. He said, "You got to try this thing out that I'm doing, and here's the code to the HTTPD," and of course, this was the server for Mosaic.
Wow.
And it was Mark Andreessen who sent me the email.
Wow.
So I compiled that. It was like HTTPD 1.4 or something. I was late to the game. And once I saw that, Jason, and I saw this page, remember how the interlaced GIFs would come in, first black and white and really slow? I'm like, this is it. And then
revolution is here.
And I said, I got to quit MTV. I got to go do this. Right. So I literally left after the #1 video on the top 20 video countdown, which that day was Beck, I'm a Loser, and walked out. And on Saturday, so this was maybe a Tuesday or whatever it was, I get a knock at the door at 7 a.m. and I open it up and it's like, you're being sued by MTV, copyright infringement, and like big stack of papers. And I was like,
you could have called.
If they just asked, all I would have asked for was maybe Adam@MTV.com,
right,
and they could have had it. I said, you know what, screw you guys, I'm going to fight it.
Yeah.
And I immediately hired a publicist. David and Goliath story, the whole thing, the New York Post was all over it. It was like, oh, what's happening here? And then we settled. And from that, I started my first company, OnRamp, which I really didn't know what it was going to be. I just knew it was going to be. I was in offices of my radio syndicator at the time. We were syndicating my top 30 hit list.
Hello,
everybody. And then I met this real dick from LA who had like a ponytail, and he's like, I can do something with the Grammys, and that was Ron Bloom.
Right.
And we
accurate description.
Well, we went out and we pitched the Grammys to do the first cybercast backstage of the Grammys, and we got it, and
wow.
for no money, and it was totally his relationship with Mike Green. I said, we're partners, I give you half the business, and let's rock and roll. And we did that, actually, an entrepreneurial story, so we had, we were financing on credit cards, essentially. We had, no money, and then we tried to go out and sell it. Oh, by the way, one caveat, you can't sell to the Grammy or CBS's existing sponsors. So we couldn't sell to MasterCard, so we went to Visa.
Right.
And we were like, we were seeing, our money was gone. And then all of a sudden it picked up, and we did get Canon camera, digital camera, we got Visa, and so we made like $2,000.
Huge.
No, a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
But then, and we had, like 6 or 7 people. We did this thing. We had Rob Glazer dropping, his progressive network server in there.
Later becoming the
we
real
had to get
player.
a T1 line put in. I mean, it was the early days of the net. It was fun. And then
I love that it was called the Cybercast, by the way. Like, back in those days, everything was like cyber.
Totally cyber.
My handle used to be Cyber Surfer.
We had the See You See Me cam with one frame a second.
See You See Me. Wow. Which was the original, like, what is that called? Chat roulette.
Chat roulette.
Yeah. Except it had 8 windows at a time. It was actually unlimited, wasn't it?
Well, you had to have a repeater. You had to have a repeater server. And then it was like, okay, we're going to be in business. And crickets, it was like no one called, nothing was happening. everyone, we thought we could license content and put it online, and no one wanted to hear from us. And then we got a call from a guy named Bob McCauley from Anheuser-Busch, and he said, "I saw what you guys did. Do you have like a consultancy department that that can help us build a website?" Hold on, Bob. Yes, this is the consultancy department, and so they hired us, and we built Budweiser.com, BudLight.com, and literally created all the content. In fact, there was this thing on the cans that had a barcode, and on the bottles. And you were out in St. Louis and learning about it, and that barcode can actually, down to the quarter hour, tell you when that beer came off the line. So we had a little widget that we put on Bud.com, fill in the code, and we'll tell you when your beer was born. Sweet. Today, if you look at a can or bottle of Budweiser, it says born on date. So that was actually our idea.
Sweet.
And so now that to get something on the label of Budweiser, that doesn't happen.
And that's really hard to actually build at that time because there were no databases that hooked into the web.
Oh, we had to rebuild everything. I mean, that was crazy. I mean, that's really where I got nuts. Anyway, so fast forward, then Omnicom, big advertising agency holding company, wanted to buy us and a couple other companies. Razorfish, what was the
agency?
Agency.com. The guys from Wired.
Organic.
Oh, my God.
See, I was a journalist at this time, so I know these
names. So you knew what was going on. Yeah. And we were like, but at the same time, we got a call from someone who wanted to take us public. We're talking 95.
Yeah.
And this is kind of before big IPOs.
And Netscape had gone out.
Netscape had gone out, but
and then actually the market crashed after they went out after a while.
Yeah, this was not a good time.
Yeah.
But Ron and I looked at each other and said, well, we have this opportunity, maybe once in a lifetime, to run a public company. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Let's see what this works out to be. And so we wound up going public for an amazing $12 million raise, of which 9 was left after the lawyers and everyone took it all.
Yeah.
But we built that from that into a company that we eventually wound up selling for $450 million.
Wow.
And had 700 people. In
this is
like
back
8
when
offices.
Building a website was a multi-million-dollar deal.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, and it had to be because you didn't have packages. You had to really build a lot of stuff.
Give $1 million to Oracle for their server.
Yeah, and then we sold it in '99 to another publicly listed company, and it became AnswerThink, and it's still around today. I think is the Hackett Group, still public.
And you did okay in all of this? I mean, you didn't
okay.
sell at the peak, but you didn't sell at the bottom. You were able to get out a little bit.
Well, we sold out just before everything came crashing down.
Oh, wow.
Everyone was saying, you guys are stupid.
So you're set for life then after that?
Well, then I got into helicopters and airplanes, and burning money in the air is a good way to get rid of a lot of it.
So yeah, you were like a major pilot. I mean, that was the thing with the Daily Source Code with 10,000 planes in the air.
So I had all this FU money and went to Europe.
Yeah.
And with a friend of mine who I'd known for a while, he'd also sold this company. We like, hey, we're going to start a fractional helicopter company. NetJets was kind of working. And luxury, twin engine, 6-passenger, Augusta 109 E-Power.
It's a good idea.
These are $4 million helicopters. And we basically oversell it. We'd be clients ourselves. We had 2. Right. And then 2 things happened. First, this guy sends an email to everybody in the world, including Augusta Helicopters, the banks. My name is not Simon Cavendish. I've been wanted by the Scotland Yard for 15 years. I've run away to Cambodia, and I have no money, and that's it. And I'm standing here with like, okay, we had a couple businesses. I got like helicopters and all this stuff. Like, okay, I can do this. I can keep going with this helicopter company. I think it's okay. Then 9/11 happens.
Oh boy.
There's no one wanting to fly anything for any reason whatsoever.
No, everything's grounded.
So I get rid of one, and they go off to Argentina, by the way. That's where the helicopters go to die.
Yep.
For like $2 million, so I took a bath. And I started over slowly, and I only had one pilot, a great Marine helicopter pilot, female, who are often the best helicopter pilots.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's just the type of flying. Women apparently do it very well. And she developed a fear of flying.
The pilot?
Yes. A 7-year Marine veteran
So I guess
pilot.
all that string of luck of like
so
getting
I look
on
up
MTV.
At the I get up, I look up at the sky, I'm like, this helicopter company is not meant to be, but I like the flying, so I said, I'm going to learn how to fly. So I learned how to fly helicopters, and then later transitioned to fixed wing.
Yeah.
And but I'm only a guy who will fly if I'm going somewhere. I don't like fly around the airport or stuff.
So you've basically gotten your ass kicked like for a couple of years in there?
Sure.
And then you decide, screw it, everything's coming back. I'm going to start Mevio Pod Show and take another bite of the apple, take another swing.
Yeah, I mean, well, literally, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do nothing, and I'm going to sit around and do nothing, and then within a month, I was hacking together the Apple script, and then all of a sudden the BBC shows up. Oh, podcasting, it's amazing. And just at that time, decided to move to London with my family. So I wound up commuting for 5 years between London and San Francisco, which I also think didn't really help myself or my personal life or anything.
Kind of brutal.
Yeah, and so just recently, in the past, since February, moved to LA. I always wanted to live in LA. Started the Big App Show, which is kind of the next evolution for me. Because I always, I always wanted to program an iPhone app.
Right.
And I'm really an amateur kind of engineer.
Right.
So I got the book, iPhone Application Development for Dummies.
Right.
Got my Hello World screen. Got online, found some guys who had like frameworks who I knew, the Taplinks guys. I knew them from the NewsGator days. And so built an iPhone app. I'm like, what should it really do? Well, the biggest problem with apps is there's 250,000 of them, but the only way you can really find them is either someone shows you, or you go through the App Store and you see pictures and text and ratings, which are all gained.
Gained to all hell.
Of course. I mean,
but there are
what does it
companies
mean?
that you can just buy it from.
Yeah,
you
so it's
just buy
crazy.
like 100 reviews at a time for $5 each.
So to me, it's like this is like someone they need a guide. They need a VJ, a DJ, an App J. So now 7 days a week. If you get my free app, the Big App Show, I show you an app running as if it's running on your phone.
Like a screencast.
It's exactly like a screencast, but I shoot it in portrait mode so that it really looks like it's running on it. And if you want that app, you tap on Get This App and you go and get it. You don't have to hunt around for it. And I just released it on Android as well for the Android market.
So, and of course people don't know in terms of the history going all the way back to the beginning. You were a VJ, one of the first VJs, or when did you get
second wave actually,
second wave of them?
end of '86.
So when did you? End of '86. I mean, that's only what, year 5 of.
Yeah, but it was year 1 that they moved to basic cable. So that's why people often incorrectly think that I was one of the first
wave.
Because they were on like.
How old are you when you got that gig?
22, I think.
How did you get it?
I was on television and radio in Europe before that. My first gig, when I was 15, I built my own transmitter. Had my mom drive me around the block, see how far it would reach.
Wow.
And this is in the Netherlands, where it's very government-controlled airwaves. They only had one station, whatever, went off the air at 7 p.m. And so then I started putting records on, literally, like that.
Yeah.
And then kids in the neighborhood were listening. I'm like, okay, well, hold on a second. And then I built my own mixer, so I have 2 turntables.
Sweet.
And then microphone, and then before you know it, I'm doing like a little show. And then I worked at a hospital radio station, which was a very captive audience. They weren't going anywhere.
Yeah,
but it was professional. They had a real professional studio, and I honed my chops. And then I started getting involved in pirate radio, some really big stations. This is right after the pirate radio ships, so like the movie Pirate Radio.
Yeah, sure.
So I know a lot of those guys. In fact, one of those guys actually hired me at the official station, Radio Veronica, when I was 19.
These guys were basically putting signals offshore into England,
international
into London,
waters,
or whatever.
Yeah, and it was all.
And why were they doing it? Just to be punk rock, or
because there was nothing, you couldn't listen to anything. The BBC, and of course they had some local stations, but the same in all of Europe. Essentially, it was government-controlled airwaves. And you think rock and roll was bad? I mean, this was evil, Satan, Antichrist. You couldn't play any of that.
Yeah.
It was necessary. It was a total revolution, punk rock movement. Not the music punk rock, but just guys. We just want to broadcast, and that's my roots really.
Yeah.
And but they also had a television show called Countdown. And at the time, the European market was a great place for artists to come into the Netherlands. First of all, a great place to hang out in Amsterdam.
Sure, no doubt.
Because I grew up there. And then move your product from there. So it was a great test market. So we had every superstar came through, and I interviewed all of them, and I could speak English.
Right.
And so
big deal.
And it was actually Sammy Hagar who said, "Dude, you should, this MTV thing. There's something going on in the States. You should really check that out." And I swear to God, I got a call at my desk one day from Steve Leeds, talent coordinator at MTV. He said, "Yeah, we've seen your stuff. We heard about you, and we want to come work for MTV."
Did Sammy Hagar drop that dime, you think?
Maybe.
Maybe.
If he did, I love him for it. And I'm like, actually, it probably came through Joan Jett and Lieber Krebs management. I think they found me, and they were tight with Steve Leeds, who was another legend in the music business, old school. And I'm like, "You mean in New York?" I said, "Yeah." I said, yeah. And literally, like 3 months later, I was in New York at MTV.
Why do you think it is? I mean, you found the pirate radio revolution, MTV clearly a revolution, the internet, the next revolution, Web 2.0 revolution, podcasting revolution, now app revolution. I mean, how did you know that these were all going to be revolutions? I mean, every time you seem to get there a year or two before everybody else. Is it something in your DNA, or are you always looking on the fringes? What's your technique?
I'm a broadcaster. That's what I do. And if I'm good at anything, it's highlighting other people's stuff.
Huh.
So I'm good at talking up records. I'm good at talking up videos. The kind of the advertising agency wasn't really what I was good at, but the broadcasting element, the cybercast, there you go again. And so with apps now, it's the same for me. I do think we're coming around though. Radio is going to be very exciting again because it's been completely obliterated and destroyed.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's been. I don't know if you heard. I offered Howard Stern $100 million a year.
I actually heard you on the air offer it.
Yeah, and I had serious backing for that. We can still do the deal, because you look at Sirius Satellite, Sirius XM now. Which has $4 billion of debt.
Right.
And by the way, they got to shoot satellites into space.
Right.
Where all you need now is an iPhone or Android and an app, and you're there. I mean, this is the new radio. But Clear Channel has rolled up all these stations. The way it works is you have a DJ in your town. It can be a community of interest, but it can't be a guy who is in LA, Texas, New York, all at the same time. You can't communicate with the audience. I know how to build an audience.
Right.
And you know how to do that too. This is what Weblogs Inc. also showed. You build an audience around community of interest, and you interact with that audience, you take crap from them and you build, and it continues to build up.
Yeah.
So I do that with predominantly with radio. And so now it's kind of come full circle with a combination of podcasting and live streaming with no agenda.
Right.
I mean, we reach 500,000 people. We do it twice a week, Thursday morning and Sunday morning.
And this is your conspiracy show, like news?
No, it's media assassination.
Yeah.
I mean, these are very dark times. People are very confused. What comes through on television and news, but all kinds of mainstream media confuses people, and it's intended to confuse people. And so we poke through that. John C. Dvorak and I have been in media a long time. He's even longer than I have. And we can help people understand not only how it's being done, what is being done, and what it means. And once, it's kind of like an awakening. People are like, okay, now I don't feel as bad. I don't feel so depressed about what I'm seeing around me because I understand this is messaging.
Right.
And they're trying to keep me
So you're actively being manipulated, and you're helping them defend themselves.
Yes, because we're all basically slaves.
Right.
I mean, we're all slaves to the government. They're taking all our money, or at least a lot of it. No matter where you live, Gitmo Nation.
Right.
It's worldwide.
Yeah.
And so you might as well understand what's going on behind the scenes and who's really running the show. And a lot of that, of course, is financially based, and bankers who are screwing us out of our money all the time. Right. Not that I can change that necessarily. Maybe we can try and vote people out. Maybe that's an idea, but
But just awareness is.
That's for our kids' generation.
Right. Exactly.
Hopefully they'll get it right.
Have enough awareness of it to.
But it's our parents who screwed it up. I blame them.
Absolutely. So you never answered the question, though, of what is it about Adam Curry that gives him the ability to spot the trend a year early? It can't be coincidence 5 times in a row.
But it's not like I'm out there, where's the trend?
The trends don't just magically show up at your doorstep 5 times in a row.
I just follow what I feel is right.
Right.
That's
so
what
you have
I've
some
always
gut
done.
for it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I want to broadcast.
So maybe it's just that your broadcasting is so strong that you sort of sense, oh my God, this could impact broadcasting?
No, I don't analyze it that way. I just want to build an audience, get a message out, and the minute an audience responds, I know I've got something. And then I'm into it. And it's always about just having a good time, doing a show, whatever it is. I love that audience
What's the impact of all this stuff, like Google TV, Ustream, live streaming? I mean, we're just seeing so much innovation in video. Obviously, YouTube, free, HD bandwidth, which, I mean, just 5 years ago, the whole concept of, HD video can be hosted for $0? Really? It makes no sense.
Right.
What is the impact of all this stuff? I mean, is it going to create a huge number of networks like Leo's or this one or Rev3?
I think it's really decentralizing. I don't see a need for huge networks necessarily in the future. An individual guy. Look, if you're looking to get rich, maybe not get into that. If you want to be make rent and have a good time and work and provide a service to a community, yeah, you're going to be able to do it. You know, gone are the days, I think, of huge networks that have all the audience. And we're in a very slow, painful transition period where everything mainstream and centralized is being chopped up and killed off. Radio is pretty much dead. Newspapers pretty much dead.
Dying, yeah.
No one figured it out. They still don't believe it. Murdoch still believes that this paywall thing works, even though it's now publicly a failure. Television networks in general, the movie industry will happen as well. It's all going to get killed off, and what's going to come back is we're going to have fantastic stuff to enjoy, and hopefully we'll have some kind of social connection so that and we already kind of have that. I'm going to find something great that someone made, and will people make a lot of money off of it like the old days of the music business? No.
Right. But it'd be more authentic.
It doesn't matter if it's authentic or not, as long as people enjoy it. And we're still going to have our Justin Biebers and Lady Gagas for a while,
Yeah.
But is that it? Is that going to enrich?
Yeah.
Or do I kind of like the double rainbow guy?
Yeah.
That to me is like, that really struck a chord. Lady Gaga, not. But when I hear the guy go, what does it mean?
What does it mean? Triple rainbow.
And it was good, and it's good for a week, and I'm done. I'm ready for the next one. And then it's the auto-tune the news guys, and will they get rich off of it? No, probably not.
Yeah.
But thank you. I'll wash your car if I see you.
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome stuff. Let's bring Lon in to do the news. My God, I can talk to you for 3 hours about this whole. You're here. You've got the news.
I'm here.
Getting your iPod.
I got to get my iPad set up.
iPad set up, rather.
I got it ready
You've
to
been
go.
listening to this discussion about media and the
I have.
future of it.
Mark, the CEO of This Week, and I were both in the office listening to the discussion. Fascinating to hear about the early days of the internet. And I remember it was just bringing back memories for me. In the mid-'90s, I went to UCLA, and I had just been on dial-up, and it was email. Email and movie times. That was the internet. And then all of a sudden you're in Ethernet, and it's like streaming video and music, and ICQ was brand new, and it's just it all came flooding back. That early era of oh my God, there's an internet out there. It's amazing.
And tell Adam, how old were you when you first saw him on MTV? He loves this.
Little message for you, Jason.
Yeah, I was very young back at the early MTV
He had no
days.
pubic hair.
But I remember.
Absolutely.
But I'm old enough to remember.
Pre-pubes or post-pubes?
It was very pre-pubes.
Very pre-pubes.
Very
Okay,
pre-pubes.
I was post-pubes. I had pubes when I was watching Adam. I know. I'm sure he wants to know that.
Yeah.
This has gone in a dark place.
We veered off in some weird direction now.
All right, tell us the first news story.
So this is interesting. It's great that Adam's here to discuss this one. According to the New York Post, Apple is talking to major record labels about starting their own response to a music subscription service. For a monthly fee, users would theoretically get to download unlimited songs from within iTunes. An anonymous source is saying the service could start as low as $10 to $15 a month, although that is yet to be finally determined. The move is suspected of being maybe a response to Spotify's plans to move to America with its free ad-supported streaming music business service. Apple apparently believes labels will prefer a subscription model. So how likely do you guys think it is? And if this happened, would any of these other music services that currently exist be able to compete with Apple and iTunes?
Well, I think that they're competing against a complete global internet. This is about the money-making aspect of the business, and it's very hard to get people to pay for digital products. It's very easy when you say, here's a CD, give me $20. It's like a physical thing. It's like $1 is a piece of paper with a number on it, and the number 20 is worth more. But it's physical, so people accept it. But when it's digital, it's like apps. But 13% of people buy an app and the rest want it all free. I think that the enjoyment of music is going to come from people who are just getting their stuff out there. They're going to make money from touring and merch and support from their audience. I think this is a great try. Who cares? I mean, back catalog, I love back catalog. I love buying stuff from iTunes. I love playing that on my show, whether it's legal or not. I figured I've made these guys so much money, they owe me one. And I know that it does spur on purchasing of stuff. But really, the new cool stuff, it's not going to come from an all-you-can-eat network. I just don't see. I don't think for Apple they need to do that. I'm not interested.
Interesting. It's definitely a reaction to Spotify. I mean, I have a Spotify like PR account they set me up with. I don't
Right,
really
yeah.
use it that much, but Tyler's got one he hacked
Yes.
from Europe. I mean, you love that thing.
Love it, love it, love it.
Why do you
But
love it?
So social music, it's like that
What's social
Facebook
about it?
integration they did with Spotify is unreal. It's what Apple wanted to try and do with
Ping, yeah.
Better
but
version of Ping.
Spotify had done it better before Apple ever did it, which is rare that you ever say anyone did anything better than Apple before Apple did it.
I mean,
iTunes 10 blows. I'm really pissed
Yeah.
off about that. I hate the icon.
the icon is the worst part. They got to switch back to the old icon.
They messed up my entire interface. There's ping everywhere. The fonts are ugly.
It's more
I don't
cartoony.
like how they group albums
No,
now. Those,
I don't
like,
want that.
weird
Yeah.
boundaries
Give me a
between-
list. I just
Yeah,
want a list
don't-
of
I
stuff.
don't
old,
like
old
that.
skin. Time to go back to the old skin.
I agree.
That is a turning point for that company. I'm telling you, that is very, very weird.
That is interesting.
That Steve Jobs actually on stage said, "Doesn't this icon look cool?" No, I don't believe he even believes it. This is not Steve Jobs. Johnny
He maybe
Ives
phoned it in.
didn't design that. This is ugly.
It is. I don't. How did he approve the logo?
Yeah, the
it looks like a
blue
Warner
and-
Brothers like
yeah.
cartoon. Like I'm
It's
waiting for like.
horrible.
I don't
It's
know,
oddly
like
retro.
Woody
Yeah.
Woodpecker to come out or something.
But it looks nothing like the rest of my Mac. It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't
it's not
look
elegant. Not elegant
It's
at
not
all.
clean. It doesn't have that
Spotify
Apple touch.
looks like a very Apple product when you use it. And what's
Yeah.
cool about it is
does,
you have
actually.
every language. So I type in like Bob Dylan covers in German, boom. You can listen to German people sing, which is a pretty horrific experience.
Yeah, I was about to
but
say,
French
it's-
people singing Bob Dylan is wonderful.
Right.
That's wonderful.
But do you have David Hasselhoff singing Bob Dylan in German?
Unfortunately, yes.
Ah!
Unfortunately, yes.
Unbelievable,
Yeah,
kid.
Well, it's like
That's
that on the
huge.
Life Aquatic soundtrack. You had that guy who does all the Portuguese David Bowie covers. Have you heard
Oh,
of those?
sweet.
Those are amazing.
I love all that ironic stuff.
It's a little ironic.
Well, the problem the music business has more than anything is the artists, the young kids themselves these days have become jaded to the idea of getting record deals, which means the kids aren't trying to aspire. They realize I'm just going to go at this on my own by default.
Yeah, they don't need them.
Well,
Like having a record
that's
deal
a huge
is not
problem
the-
because you don't have this legion of people that you're like cherry picking off of that are trying to get deals to
Yeah, the brass ring
to
is
much
not
less
the
extent.
record
Right.
contract. The brass ring
Right.
is having an audience that comes to your concert.
Right.
Comes to your gigs.
Having audience is what it is. I mean,
And now they're going to artists that are starting to sell and they're like, look, you should have a record deal, and then it's like, well, why should I?
Yeah.
Like the tables are starting to turn.
Sort of like
a
the
bit,
angel
so.
venture capital thing. It's
Yes.
like, well, I already had. I don't really know if I need the venture
Right.
capital. Next story.
So rumors were spreading this week of high-level talks in San Francisco between Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer and Adobe CEO Shantanu Narayan. May have included discussion of an acquisition. That was the original guess. Now the Wall Street Journal is saying it's more likely the deal will result in some sort of collaboration in maybe cloud or mobile computing. Adobe stock originally climbed 11.5% as news of the meeting spread, and then fell 6% the day after when the deal looked like it may not actually happen. Neither company really commented specifically. Adobe said, Adobe and Microsoft share millions of customers around the world, and the CEOs of the two companies do meet from time to time. We do not publicly comment on the timing or topics of their private meetings. So any guess as to what this all might be about, and what kind of deal, if any, do you think these two companies may enter into?
Adobe and Microsoft obviously are not happy with Apple, and so this is just them conspiring to figure out how do we F
we
with Steve
get
Jobs the
Apple?
most. I mean, the Adobe guy is on tilt about Flash. I mean,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs laid the smackdown on him, and he's right, because every time my browser crashes, I don't know about you guys, it's because of Flash.
I've actually for Safari you can install this extension,
Yeah.
which then the page loads without Flash and it just has boxes. And if you want to enable one, you click on it.
Right, and then you go, boom.
But that's really
Brace yourself.
when you see the problem, because pages that I load have 15 boxes, and one of them's content and 14 are ads. This is this is a lot of Flash stuff that,
Yeah.
and they have all these different issues with different integration things.
Yeah.
But until you can get HTML5 really functioning with pre-rolls on video, it ain't going to take off. So they got. I mean, I know it can be done.
Yeah,
with
we're still a year
with
away.
Canvas on canvas, but someone's really got to do that and really support it.
Yeah.
Really support it.
Google will. I mean, Adobe is
Mevio
truly,
supports it.
Yeah.
Supports HTML5, but still to put in your waterfall and your whole ad system, and I mean that's a big step for any company. A lot of money to integrate that.
Like Flash, Microsoft Office is sort of holding on to their sort of, and it's going to be like AOL dial-up. It's going to just go like this. So,
Right.
and if you stop innovating, you're one of those billion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar revenue streams. It just takes a while for the revenue stream to die, but it's still a lot of money. So you're sort of obligated to take the money, But there's no revolution going on at Adobe to do something better. That's the
Sure.
problem. They should solve their software problem. They should do like whatever's after Flash, which they haven't.
No, nothing yet.
But I mean, why doesn't Apple own Photoshop and all the whole Adobe suite? Wouldn't that make perfect sense for them to own it?
Seems like it would.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs would say, we're a small company. We say no to almost everything.
Yeah. We're a small company.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just making televisions next. Tyler, any insights on this? No. Next story.
So
We're gonna wrap up in 5 minutes.
I would not be a good newsman if I let the
Oh,
show
God,
end
I know
without
this is
bringing
gonna-
up
an Arrington issue.
the elephant in the room,
boy.
which is the Facebook groups.
Oh, Facebook groups. Okay.
After going into lockdown for several weeks, Facebook emerged with a suite of new features, including the ability to download materials you have stored in Facebook, which you had been calling for months ago, and a new option to form groups for sharing documents, email, chat, all those kinds of things. Many criticized the fact that it appeared individuals could be included in groups without actually opting in. You're calling it force-joined. And as a
It's
result...
like forced feminization?
yeah.
What is that?
Absolutely.
As a
Put
result-
estrogen in your
Right.
in your bloodstream.
As a result, you could be force joined into groups in which you don't want to participate. You and Michael Arrington. I won't bring up the
NAMBLA.
actual group. NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association.
Don't worry, Mark Zuckerberg's a member as well.
Right. We're
Wait, are you guys in? Did you get forced into that group?
Somebody force joined myself
I
and
missed
Mike
the story.
Arrington into NAMBLA. So I log into Facebook, get to see what the groups are like, and on the side of my navigation it says NAMBLA.
NAMBLA.
I'm like, what the f*** is that? I click
funny.
it. Oops,
That's
I just
funny.
cursed $10 in the curse jar.
That's funny.
And I look and I see Mike Arrington's a member, so I email Zuck at Facebook as his email, and I
Finally,
CC Cheryl at Facebook. That's the
Facebook's got some rock and roll back. That's
Exactly.
funny.
So I
like
emailed
that.
them. I was like, you might want to fix this. By the way, I know I'm not a member of NAMBLA, and I can't speak for Mike Arrington, but I'm going to assume that he's not a member right now. And why can people, force
He's
join
not
other
an
people?
active member.
But I specifically thought
He let his members
dues.
His dues.
don't even wanna
He hasn't
know.
paid his dues in a couple of years.
he's got to sign the new charter.
That's bad.
It's really bad. So I take a screenshot of this. I'm like, and by the way, when you release new features, if you want to save yourself a couple of $1 million on privacy lawsuits, I'll take a look at them for you. Smiley face. Because I like to F with him a little bit.
Poke him a little bit.
poke. But I said, I'm going to come up with a word. And we were in the Virgin Upper Class Lounge, which I know you love.
Yeah, I haven't flown it for a while.
Yeah, exactly. $48 million. You don't have access to that anymore. So we're in there, and I'm like, what would be a word I could come up with that would accurately display and embody like what's happening here? That's like a violation. Mm-hmm. So it's like forced. I was forced to be subscribed to this. So, and now like everybody's talking about force join,
Right.
as a keyword.
What happened to diaspora? Is that still?
Supposedly, people are reviewing their code base, and they're going to be out in a couple of weeks.
They're going to launch, and actually, in 2 weeks, Maxwell from the Diaspora team is going to be on the show. 2 weeks from
I
today.
really like that idea. I really, really do. And
Yeah.
and I think they did a developer release or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and I don't know Ruby on Rails, but I guess I'll try and hack something together. I'd love to host a seed because I guess you can customize it however you want.
Right.
That sounds kind of cool. That
Yeah.
sounds kind of rock and roll. And I think Facebook made a seminal mistake. I have not seen it yet, but apparently now you can download your stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
That's it.
So if you can download all your stuff, does that mean I can take that and import it
Yep.
into something else?
Oh, yes.
That's exactly what it
That was a big mistake.
You know there's going to be a toolbar where it will sync your Dysphoria
That's a big
profile
mistake,
over
yeah.
there. Well, they had no choice because we're under so much pressure right now, I think.
Of course they had a choice. That's a big mistake. I don't know who came up with that or who
Well,
decided that
I
was a
think what's
good
happening
idea.
now is Zuckerberg is cracking under the pressure of being so hated and the privacy issues and the movie. So
Right.
they're trying to put anything, he's trying to do anything in the world that makes him look
That is the
a little
Achilles
better.
heel. It's all about your address book. It's all about your relationships to people.
They gave away the farm.
With that, totally gave it away, and I can't wait to see what's going to
Why
happen.
buy
'cause
the milk? Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, so now you can just suck it into some other system, which is great in the we love everybody open source way, but from the type of money that's involved in Facebook, dumb.
The thing I'm having a hard time with actually is I'm old school internet guy. Where like pre-commercialization, and I think guys like us look at the internet as this like freeing, empowering, good thing, like force for good in the world, right?
I
Sort
hope
of.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope
Data,
so.
which was back then. It was even you couldn't come on and do anything commercial.
Right.
No.
And
Kids
so
today don't have no understanding
right,
of that
exactly.
whatsoever. Like
And
the foundation of what
when
it was
you're
about.
designing a product, there's this sort of like rules of engagement, and one of them is you let the users opt in, and you never abuse the
Right.
users, you never force them into something they don't want. And Zuckerberg just doesn't have it. Something's either he's maniacal in that he doesn't care, or he's just clueless. But they seem to think this is okay, just like checking your friends in at a location is okay. It's along those same lines. You know, in the check-in product, I could check you in. Hey, we're both at the Hustler store. I saw Adam Curry there. He's checked in now. And all of your friends see that you're checked in there.
Right.
Or at the NAMBLA meeting when we were there last week. You could have checked me in. I don't want people to know where it is.
It was even before that, because if you remember, you could tag somebody in a photo. So I could take a photo of you somewhere you don't maybe want people to know you are.
And tag you.
Put it up on Facebook and say, this is Jason
And if
Calacanis.
you don't like that, well, then you have a problem with where the world is heading. I'm Mark Zuckerberg. F everybody.
Right. It's
billion
always
users.
been the philosophy.
And that just is depressing for me that, like, in order to compete in the playing field today, you have to not care about the users and you have to actually cheat and just, you know, it's like every little edge you have to get. And you know what he'll do is he'll reverse this decision 4 months from now when the groups thing is huge.
Yeah.
It's like just lie and steal and cheat and then beg for forgiveness
Let me ask you a question.
years later.
At the end of the social network, it said 500 million people, $25 billion. What do you think the real numbers are? Because that really upset me. I'm not like weighing it, but like people have this perception now that's a $25 billion company that have 500 million users. I don't think that's true.
Yeah, so here's the real deal. They have $2 billion in revenue this year. No profits. Let's say next year they double it, $4 billion. That would be hard to do, but doable. It's happened in the history of the internet. So next year it's $4 billion. Let's say they have a ridiculous 25% margin. They clear $1 billion in profits. $1 billion in earnings. 20 times forward-looking revenue would make them $20 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That would be like the ultimate 5% chance of that happening. The reality is at this point, if they even had 25% of their current revenue, you know, it's just not enough to make it
I don't
worth
think
that
they have
much.
500 million users. I think they have 500 million profiles.
Right.
But I think maybe
Active users.
150 million real users probably.
Yeah, how you define users would be people who have logged in the last, I don't
Whatever.
know,
The
60 days, 90
25
days.
billion valuation part comes out of those online private stock
Yeah,
trading.
secondary stuff.
Right, but that secondary
market.
trading is at such low volume. It's
Right.
equivalent to the stock market has during the day the trading hours.
Right.
After the trading hours, there's after hours, where there's very, very, very few people trading at numbers that are way above and below what it had just traded at 30 minutes before.
I'm gonna
because the
guess
volume is so
it's worth,
low.
In reality, it's worth 10, 15 billion. So
Really?
it gets double its value.
Wow.
Yeah, but that is betting on a company that's continuing to grow.
But they're not making money. They can't be profitable now.
No, they're not profitable right now. No,
No, I
they're
mean,
investing like crazy.
That's going to be a huge overhead. How are they making money? What is their main revenue
Those
source?
ads on the side, those little
Is that
ads.
really? That's really the money? Is the ads? The whole thing in the movie that we're supposed to be against? That's the ads. It's not
Yeah,
like
there are ads along the side now that are targeted, and their targeting system is how many women in Florida who play Guitar Hero do you want to reach?
right.
How many males over 40 in Los Angeles?
And they have enough scale that they really deliver for the advertising.
It'd be like there's 8,000
Right.
people, there's
Right.
80,000 people, and then you.
Right.
So unlike the keyword market over at Google AdWords, the Facebook market is based on demographics and what you've put on your profile.
You're opting into what ads you see based
Yeah.
on what you tell them
Right.
you like.
So-
Right.
I mean, basically, they can go to an ad agency and say, you want to get females with, you know, in this age bracket and sell them this soap, and then this bracket this soap, and then, you know, whatever. And they could slice them like
Yeah.
nobody's ever been able to.
I did think that was interesting in the movie how they play up so much that Eduardo is like, well, we got to start selling ads, and Mark is just,
Yeah,
you know,
against.
oh, that's
Yeah,
not cool.
and
That's
what,
not
then his whole
cool.
history is just compromising user in with the
Yeah.
what's it called Beacon. He's like, yeah, we're just going to sell your information to Beacon or auto personalize.
Right, because in the movie he's so against it. He's like, no, it's not cool. It's all
Yeah.
going to be cool. That's not cool.
Well, I mean, he's the most uncool person you've ever met.
All I
that's
know is
also part of
Justin
the
Timberlake for Supporting Actor Academy Award.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, he's going to get that.
Stole the movie.
I agree. He's the
Stole
best part
the
of the
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. The guy
last-
playing the Winklevoss twins. It's one guy playing
Actually,
both
quite.
twins.
Yeah.
Wait a second. It is?
No.
Army Hammer.
Really?
No.
One guy.
They CGI'd that?
That's one
they
guy
split
who's
that?
playing
You know what I
twins.
heard? I heard.
That's true.
No.
I heard that
Armie Hammer is the
I heard
guy's
they
name.
sped up the whole movie. That the movie, it's long. It's like 2
Yeah.
hours, but it came in even longer, and they digitally
That's
sped
true,
it
too.
up. So that your voices stayed the same, but it moves like
They
a
take-
little bit
he takes
faster.
frames
yeah,
out.
took
That's
frames
what they do
out,
that-
and they moved it
Wow.
faster.
Fincher
yeah.
does that. He's done that on a couple of. He did it
Yeah.
in Zodiac too. I know, where he'll take frames out of a scene, and it gives you. It's kind of awkward, but you can't tell why it's awkward, and everything seems to
Well, it's
sync.
like you used to on the radio. Every top 40 radio station back
They
in the
take
day
out all the
would
pauses.
spin up the records. You would always run it like 108%. So the records were always going faster because they gave you a more
More energy.
especially with top 40 music, give you more driving force of the radio, and then we big compression and stuff. It's all designed to suck you in and keep you.
It
with
is
us.
like psychologically just
Yeah.
designed to.
So I
Yeah.
think, but it worked.
It really
because
worked. I mean, the movie's very compelling.
Yeah.
Last story.
Last story. According to Reuters, Hulu is preparing to IPO in the first half of 2011. The company is allegedly looking to raise between $200 and $300 million in a deal that would value it at $2 billion.
Booyakasha.
So, considering the criticism of the subscription service Hulu Plus, heavy competition from sites like Netflix and products like Google TV, Apple TV, and their ongoing issues with studios, for example, you still can't watch CBS shows on Hulu, and Viacom pulled a lot of their big Comedy Central sites from the site. Is this premature, and how profitable do you think Hulu is really going to be?
The ads on Hulu are more effective than the ads on TV.
Are they profitable, Jason? Hulu?
I don't know that. They don't have to pay for their content. They do a revenue split.
Right.
So in that way, they'll probably be able to show some good
economics. But the margin
economics.
is razor thin.
Very thin.
It's going to be razor thin.
And you'll notice if you watch Hulu long enough, you're not seeing that many ads. It's not very diverse.
No, I know, but you have to click continue on the ad.
This is just getting everybody out before the big depression of 2013. Everyone just has to get out. I mean, I don't know what revenue they have, but it costs so much with Sarbanes-Oxley to run a public company. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want the liability. I mean, who's going to run that? This is just to get investors out. I don't see it's just a financial play. I don't think it means anything else.
IPO, that's what IPOs
What else
are.
do they need? I mean,
it's liquidity.
Yeah, they don't need
But this was
anything
created
else.
by those 4 studios.
Yeah, it's a sort of
Plus
a
the
joint
private equity.
venture.
They all own it.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a way for them to get cash off the table. When they sell that, they'll each get.
As long as I can just watch Family Guy, I don't care.
Absolutely.
Watching Family Guy.
Thank you to .co and GoDaddy for sponsoring the program and independent media. Thank you to Tyler for a great insight today, like a Sunday in...
Sunday in a snowstorm.
Sunday in a snowstorm. Really well done. Lon, thanks for the news.
Sure thing. Do we want to show the TriCaster music video?
We will end with the TriCaster video, of course, for the new tech. God, we're shilling for these sponsors like crazy. Everybody, it is your Geary, it is your honor, your sacred duty to download Big App Show. Go to Android Marketplace
or
iTunes.
Or the iTunes, or go to bigappshow.com.
How much does it cost?
It's free.
It's free. Unbelievable. All this free content? Yeah. Why wouldn't you go download it?
It's free, but of course we want you as an Appaholic. If you find some value from the show, support it and pay
And how do you do that? Is there like an in-app, like give you some mana?
No, there's actually an Appaholic support link, and that takes you to PayPal. And then if you've donated, there's an Appaholics tab, and you get listed in the app.
Oh, that's a sweet idea.
Yeah, and people like supporting the show.
What's the minimum I can do to get on that list?
$1.
Really?
Yeah, you get $1.
I'm going to sign up with like Jason Calgas 1, Jason Calgas 2. I'm going to sign up like 20 times. So
You're in.
This way I can get like a big swap
You're
there.
in. You're in. No problem.
That's what people should do. If you really want to get marketing, that's a great way to get marketing. It seems like cool. Just put 10 of them there for $1 each.
If it's $50, I link to anything you want.
$50 for the link?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And which is a pretty good deal. And if it's $200, you become executive producer. You get the credit on the opening of the show.
Really?
You can use that on IMDb. It's a real credit.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is a smart idea. Thank you for being on the program. It was an awesome interview.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really nice. You got a great place here. I really, and I love what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
I think it's I think it's cool. You know, this is rock and roll. I like this setup, and I think I know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
We'll figure it out. You know, we're just a small company. Small
You need to
company
lift a little more.
I said we're a small company and we're trying to make our way in the world.
It's like Mike Tyson.
Yeah, take a small company. We're just trying to get.
I got forced joined in the man.
It's not really fair. It's forced joined. And Mark Zuckerberg doesn't like me. Thank you, New Tech. Let's see New Tech's commercial. We'll see you next time on the Swinging Startups.
You got a web show you want to create. You need something make you look and sound really great. A lightweight, portable broadcast device. For a TV studio, you can't beat the price. TriCaster, TriCaster. For web television, use a TriCaster. TriCaster, TriCaster. For web television, use a TriCaster. Audio mixing and special effects. Multi-camera switching, digital muscle flex. Playback clips on your live remote shoots. A chroma key, green screen, muscle to boot. Live production and virtual sets. Streaming like a pro across the internet. It's made of awesome and it's full of wind. TriCast is what we use it this weekend. TriCaster, TriCaster. For web television, use a TriCaster. TriCaster, TriCaster. For web television, use a TriCaster. For web television, use a TriCaster. For web television, use a TriCaster.
spiked out. I could trip a referee. Tell by my attitude that I most definitely from